Boom. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Busted Balls. I'm your host, Eric Pennell. OW20 is my squirt. I do, man. And this is 100% wide open con. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bustin' Balls. I'm your host, Eric Pennell. OW20 is my squirt. I do man shit, and this is 100% wide open podcast. Let's get right into it, huh? Football season is in full swing. I think we just got done with week 6 of the 2024 season right here. Dude, we got the Jets game tonight. It looks like the Jets just fired their head coach, which we seen that coming, dude. I mean, when people on morning shows and podcasts are saying that this guy, Salas or whatever his name was, is not a head coach, I can't look at a head coach and go, he's not a head coach. I just look at coaches that just stink and I just go, I don't know if that's how they're measuring it, but he stunk, okay? And I get it. He had Zach Wilson. You know, it almost makes you think, was Zach Wilson that bad? You know, because Zach Wilson was bad. You know, but with how bad that coach is, it makes you wonder, was he that bad because of that Jets coach? Is that why he was that bad? But at the end of the day, I just think Zach Wilson was, it's like the NFL is. Sometimes it's too big for people, and you're not big enough for it. You know, nothing against Zach Wilson, handsome guy, mom's a smoke show. But at this point, it just looked like a lot of quarterbacks where they're the stud in college, and the pros just swallow them up, man. And but the Jets, they move forward. I don't know if that's going to be the fix all. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions. I get it. You could say, in Aaron Rodgers' defense, he doesn't like the offense. He doesn't like the play calling. Maybe he doesn't like some of the players. Garrett Wilson just had one of his best games with Aaron Rodgers the other day. But up until that point, Garrett Wilson has not looked that good. He's not looked like a number one. Because a lot of times, even a number 1 wide receiver with a bad quarterback still looks like a number 1, and he gets his. And Garrett Wilson, dude, he's with Aaron Rodgers. You think he'd be getting his every week. It would have been off the jump, but it clearly is not that. Maybe Aaron Rodgers has lost a step. I wouldn't think that he hasn't lost a step. The guy's getting over an Achilles tear or injury, and he's, an older gentleman, okay? You lose a step, and in his case, he's lost a step even more because of the Achilles, and also being on a new team, being with mostly new players, although he has Lazard, and Lazard seems to do pretty well with Aaron Rodgers. But honestly, I just don't really see much out of the Jets. I just don't see a lot happening with the Jets. I think this is going to be Aaron Rodgers' story where he goes, hey, I tried to give it the old honest swing on it, and it just didn't amount to much. The injury popped up. The players and I never clicked. And Father Time knocked on my door, and I answered, and I walked out of it, and then I became a U.S. Senator and then possibly a president. I'm at the point right now where I think Aaron Rodgers, within 15 years down the line is going to be probably running for president. I see a guy like that doing that. I don't know if he's going to become a president, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Aaron Rodgers goes, you know what, I'm running for president. We're going to see stuff like that. I know it sounds ridiculous now, but, guys like Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump were in entertainment. You're going to have Mark Cuban. I know he's not in entertainment, but he is in entertainment. He's got, the Shark Tank, and Mark Cuban's going to run for presidency in 2028. Not to get on that. I'm not trying to. But somebody like Aaron Rodgers is going to be like a senator. He's going to be possibly a president or a presidential candidate is what I'm guessing. Tonight, the Jets play Buffalo. I'll tell you another team that's really not that impressive, and another quarterback that's not that impressive is Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. That's who the Jets play tonight on Monday night. And for some reason, when you watch Buffalo, they're just not that exciting. Like, Buffalo also is just not that exciting. They're not that dominant. I get it. They got players, if you get them rolling and it comes playoff time and their back's against the wall, they tend to perform. But right now, it just does not look like it's like a scary team. There's not a lot of scary teams out there. There are a handful of scary teams. And what's funny is, the scary teams are the ones that you didn't think were going to be scary. First of all, the Washington Commanders, they're leading their division. They're scary, okay? Whether people like it or not, Jaden Daniels, he was number 2 pick overall. You know what? Up until yesterday's game with Chicago versus the Jags over in England or wherever the hell that's at, I would have said Jaden Daniels is probably the best quarterback so far out of this draft. Caleb Williams actually looked very good yesterday. He looked very good, and it was very nice to see Caleb Williams do very well. Although he's playing a terrible Jacksonville Jaguar team that they're probably going to lose their coach. That Doug Peterson's probably going to get fired pretty soon. I mean, the Jags do not look good. They're not playing very good. Trevor Lawrence, I'm about at the point. I'm done like most people are with giving this guy excuses. Trevor Lawrence is a guy that we thought was going to be like, the John Elway of the NFL moving forward. I mean, that's what I heard people saying, and he was like a sure thing. And yeah, he's a starting quarterback for now, but Trevor Lawrence isn't like a world beater at this point. And Trevor Lawrence has had good running backs. He's got good running backs now, although ETN went down yesterday, and I'm not sure how bad that's going to be. I thought he had a hammy, but he had, Bigsby behind him. ETN did really well last year, and he's done okay this year. Trevor Lawrence has always had wide receivers. I mean, you name all the wide receivers that they've given that guy. And although, yes, has he had a number one? Look, they tried to give him Ridley. Ridley is such a ripoff artist. Ridley is another player that's just going around getting checks. He's like the Odell Beckham of now. Like, where he'll go to teams and they talk like, oh, boy, we got us a number one. And he's just not a number one. He's just not a number one. Hell, he's a 2.5, Calvin Ridley. And he doesn't show up. He doesn't ever show up. And he'll have a game or two where you go, whoa, there's number one. There's a number one. You go, yeah, but there's 17 games. And he's like a number one guy for like 2.5 games. And it's like, what are you going to do with that? You might as well just go with a no name and don't even pay him that much if they're giving you 2.5 games. I mean, I see guys walking around Chicago still with Johnny Knox jerseys and stuff like that. And I mean, that guy came cheap. There's a lot of guys that come cheap that are only going to give you 2.5 games. But Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, they're in trouble, man. I don't know what they need to do down there. I'm pretty sure that team's going to get moved to London. I clearly everybody sees that every year they play over in London. They're trying to give that town a taste of football and see if they get their hooks into this terrible team that never seems to do well. And yeah. And so Caleb Williams looked very good yesterday against them. Although I think Caleb Williams is better than what most people give him credit for. I think he does get a lot of hatred. Hey, he's number one overall. Number one picks are going to get hatred. Him painting his fingernails, him not playing, very well his senior season because he already knew what was up. Him not doing combine. I mean, there are things that make you hate him. But also, he's doing what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden do when they're running for presidency. They hide in the basement and they play keep away because they go, I already got this thing in the bag. Why would I go out there and give them some information where they want to maybe poke holes in my game? So I'm going to hide and I'm going to barely pop my head out like fucking Punxsutawney Phil and, and see my shadow. But Jaden Daniels and the Commanders have actually, Jaden Daniels, I would have took him over Caleb Williams even before all this information. They were saying that Jaden Daniels was the guy. I mean, when you did the eye test, you go, man, that guy's got something. I don't know how long he's going to get it, how he operates and stuff like that. You never know with these quarterbacks that are these excellent athletes and you have 300-pound men jumping on them at full speed. They tend to break them pretty easy. But Jaden Daniels and the Commanders are arguably, whether people like it or not, one of the best teams in the NFL right now. I honestly, when you look at the best teams, there's two that I consider right now are the best teams. In my opinion, they're both in the NFC. I mean, dude, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders are the best team and one of the best teams in the NFL. And the other best team in the NFL is the Minnesota Vikings, which is 100% surprise to me since they didn't have the quarterback that they really wanted, starting all these games. But Darnold has done very good for the Minnesota Vikings. It's almost like Darnold goes, dude, I've been waiting for this. Justin Jefferson, which, I don't know what people thought Justin Jefferson was going to do this year without having the quarterback that they thought was going to be slinging it to him. But Justin Jefferson is number one, that it does not matter who's out there. He's going to get his if he's healthy. And then they always have, Minnesota always has some, stud receivers that are like number 2 receivers, number 3 receivers, but they're always like the best number 2 receivers and best number 3 receivers. Although you could argue that Minnesota has great receivers because Justin Jefferson's out there, and then where you got to pay attention to him because he's such a game changer. And now Hawkinson, the tight end's coming back from injury, I think week 7, 8 or something like that, maybe. They're going to introduce him back in there. And these guys are playing excellent ball. And again, I get it. There's people out there that probably don't like anybody saying Minnesota is one of the best teams out there because it just doesn't match up, because maybe you're grading them on what they've done in the past and who they've always been, and they've been like a little brother in the NFL, or the brother that always tries to pop his head up and they can't get past a certain point. Time will tell. But right now, Minnesota Vikings are arguably the best team in the NFL, and the Washington Commanders are the best team in the NFL. And then when you go on the NFC side of it, I mean, dude, you're talking about like leading the division. The Bills are leading their division. The Chiefs are leading their division. The Ravens are leading their division. The Texans are leading their division. And again, those guys all have a good reputation, all those guys. Of course, in the AFC, you would have to say that the Chiefs right now are possibly the best team in the NFL. I guess so. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the hatred of the Chiefs, but when I watch the Chiefs, although they looked pretty good last game with Kareem Hunt, and they're bringing Kelsey back in since Rice, messed up his knee because of Mahomes throwing an interception. Nobody's talking about how Mahomes threw an interception and then blows out their star receiver's ACL or whatever he did. He blew out his knee. That guy's on IR right now, and who knows when he's coming back. And they looked pretty good, the Chiefs, and they're always going to look pretty good as long as Mahomes back there. I mean, that is the fact. But I don't know. They just don't look that scary when you see them. Because when I watched, when you watch Minnesota and you watch like the Commanders, you go, those dudes are scary. Those dudes look like they'll mow you down. The Chiefs don't look like they're going to mow you down right now. Arguably, the 3 best teams also, I don't care where you rank everybody else. I know the Chiefs are. I'm pretty sure they're undefeated also. It doesn't feel like a strong undefeated for the Chiefs. The Ravens, now they look like the team in the AFC that's like they're the best team in the AFC. I don't care what anybody says. The Ravens, you can't stop Derrick Henry right now. Lamar is actually playing MVP Lamar. They just got Mark Andrews involved the other game just against the Commanders. I mean, that was one of the best games I've seen in a while. Everybody thought that Dallas Cowboys game was going to be the game that they played on the late night there. It was Dallas Cowboys versus Detroit Lions. And Detroit, I'm pretty sure, was at Dallas. Dude, I didn't watch that game because I was like, I'll watch the highlights later. Detroit ran tire marks up Dallas's back. I couldn't believe it. I looked, it was like 45 or 47-9 or something like that. I go, what is wrong with the Dallas Cowboys? They are terrible. And I could point to a few reasons why. I don't even got to watch that game. I've watched plenty of Dallas Cowboys games to know what's wrong with the Dallas Cowboys. All right. First of all, a lot of people go, don't point to Dak. I'm pointing to Dak. He's one of them. And then also just the players' attitudes. I mean, they're just either entitled or they don't want it bad enough because they got the talent. And I know people could go, they're injured. Every team's injured. It's already week 6 going into 7. Everybody's got injuries. Talk to San Francisco about injuries. And Christian McCaffrey and Debo just came back and he was banged up. And now Mason's banged up. And Purdy's out there throwing to guys like Jennings or whatever his name was, or no-name receivers that are getting like 180 yards on a single game or so. But everybody's banged up right now. And the Dallas Cowboys, the fact is that they don't want it bad enough. They just don't want it bad enough because they got the players, they got the fan base. They just don't have the leadership, and they don't have enough people in there pointing fingers and just saying that you suck, man. Like you got to do better. You're an embarrassment. Okay, you guys get your money, but you don't do nothing with it besides buy the jewelry, buy the cars, get on the boats, like all the stuff. You wear your cute little outfits that you come to the game for, and you don't worry about you must win. Because guess what? Somebody like the Dallas Cowboys, it's like playing Alabama through all these years. It's like playing, the good schools, Ohio State. Every team wants to punch the Dallas Cowboys in the mouth, and they have to realize that. And I know they know that. You think you know that, and they don't know that? I don't know. It don't seem like they realize that they came to a fight, and nobody's scared of them anymore. Nobody's scared of the Dallas Cowboys. That's one of the things also. There's teams that they show up with, they got all the money and they're pretty, and they got the pretty girls, and they got the nice smiles, and they got the cool colors, and they got some history. They got history that they have nothing to do with. Nothing to do with. Dak Prescott has nothing to do with what Tony Dorsett did. He has nothing to do with what Starbuck did or whatever. He has nothing to do with it. Stallworth, whatever his name is. I don't even know what I'm talking about here. Not Stallworth. Who's the goddamn guy that went to the military and he came back and he was their quarterback that killed it? You know what I'm talking. Roger Staubach. And dude, they can attach their names to that type of Dallas Cowboys team, but they're not it. Nobody's scared of the Dallas Cowboys at all. Flat out. Done. Okay? And they got housed and they're getting embarrassed. Just like they got embarrassed last playoffs when Green Bay, which is very good this year also, as long as Love is very healthy and Love is doing his thing, the Green Bay Packers, I didn't name them in the NFC that are one of the scariest teams. I mean, Green Bay is arguably the third, maybe fourth best team in the NFC, and I can understand how there's people out there that would argue that Green Bay is number one or number two. It's just right now you can't give it to them because they're just better, more electric, stronger power teams than Green Bay. But Green Bay, just like they punched Dallas Cowboys in the mouth last playoffs and they didn't see what hit them, Detroit just did that with Dallas the other day, and they should be ashamed of themselves. They should be embarrassed of themselves. I don't want to hear them talk. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to see that old man that they always, they always drag out there in front of the cameras that owns the team. Nobody wants to hear it anymore. Just either win or go over there and hang out with the Cleveland Browns because you stink. And I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, which they don't even get me started on the Cleveland Browns. They are terrible. They are terrible, and they're terrible because they had the worst deal probably ever in the NFL by getting Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson bamboozled the Cleveland Browns. I mean, flat out. They done fooled them. Houston Texans are laughing at them because Houston Texans have a great team right now and they have great players and a great organization on the rise. And the Cleveland Browns have a lot of talent. The Cleveland Browns have a ton of talent. They have a terrible quarterback and it is ruining the whole franchise, okay? It's going to get defensive players hurt because they're out there too long. The great Myles Garrett, people like him. And then you got, dude, you know what? I wasn't very excited when Jerry Jeudy went to the Browns, but Jerry Jeudy actually looks like, if you put that guy on the right team with a quarterback that knows how to throw darts, I really think Jerry Jeudy is actually more valuable. I'm not saying he's the number one at all, but I think Jerry Jeudy with a nasty number one like Amari Cooper's still very good, whether people like it or not. If Amari Cooper has a good quarterback, he's actually really good. I feel sorry for him too. But Jerry Jeudy actually is not that bad. But Deshaun Watson, you should be ashamed of yourself. You need to go away, bud. If you're no good at it, just take your money and go. Nobody wants you here anymore, all right? Dude, there's quarterbacks out there. I mean, the league right now has some quarterbacks. Caleb is a very good quarterback. I'll give it up to that. Caleb Williams is very good. Good for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is a great dude, whether you like it or not. I know those words kind of sound ridiculous. Baker Mayfield has actually turned into a good quarterback. I don't know how long he's going to keep it up, but I'm talking after week 6 of the 2024 season. Good for him, okay? He's got a decent little contract right there. He's got his money, and he's winning. He's got a good team, okay? Love is a very good quarterback. Goff, whether people like it or not, is a very good quarterback. Purdy is a very good quarterback. Lamar is a very good quarterback. Jaden Daniels is a very good quarterback. I'll tell you who's overrated. And I don't know if I'm the first to say it. I never thought about this ever until like now. Joe Burrow is very overrated. I mean, look, I get it. He was LSU hotshot. Okay, left Ohio State, went to LSU, became a hotshot, took the Bengals to the Super Bowl, lost. All right, he dyes his hair. He Slim Shady's it up a little bit like that. Oh, he's got some throws. Guess what? I'm done with you too. Just like the Dallas Cowboys, I am done with giving them too much credit just for being a Dallas Cowboys. I'm done giving Joe Burrow credit just because he was Joe Burrow. I'm talking about now. This is a what have you done for me lately world. And Joe Burrow, what has he done for anybody lately? Nothing. I mean, he's overrated. Yeah, you give Jamar Chase and T. Higgins the most quarterbacks that can throw a ball. See what Jamar Chase does on every team. Give Jaden Daniels freaking Jamar Chase, please. Although Terry McLaurin has actually made a comeback. Finally, Terry McLaurin got a quarterback, and now Terry McLaurin looks like the guy that everybody's always known. But good for Terry McLaurin. You know, he's helping out Jaden Daniels a ton too. But Joe Burrow, you're overrated, bud. Okay? Yeah, you're really not that scary and impressive. And then also for him to be in press conferences last week saying that we're not a high level like Super Bowl team, you're part of the problem, buddy. You are not that good. Not that good. It's a fact, you know? Dude, and I think they made a big mistake letting Mixon go. I know they got a couple running backs that look pretty good. Mixon, I know he came off that injury for a couple games. Good for Mixon. Mixon has actually looked very good. Derrick Henry has looked very good. Oh, Dallas Cowboys made the biggest mistake by not bringing in Derrick Henry and just not letting him leave. I mean, that's what they need. They need somebody like that. Derrick Henry has looked awesome. Finally, Bijan had a game. Bijan Robinson finally had a game. They've been talking about this guy for years, saying, oh, he's the guy. This guy's got real mediocre numbers. Yesterday, he finally had a game. I don't know if he's going to keep it up. And also good for Swift. Yesterday, that game with the Chicago Bears, that running back Swift finally had the game that people pay him for. You know, and again, it just makes me wonder if Swift is having a game like that and Caleb Williams is looking like he's playing 7-on-7 with no pads on out there, how bad is the Jacksonville Jaguars? That's all I'm asking. Maybe they're that good. Maybe Swift got his swerve on. Maybe Caleb Williams is clicking more now. But it just makes me wonder. You know, it's like the Eagles that had a problem getting past the Browns the other day. And then in the press conference, you know, the coach is talking junk, and he was talking junk to the fans. And it's like, you guys barely got past the Cleveland Browns, which are not that good of a team at all. They don't have an offense. I mean, it's like they have a car that has a transmission that's blown and can't get out of second gear. And you guys are out there bragging, and you got your kid on your lap. That guy's a sucker. That guy's a real sucker, man. But anyways, I can't believe I'm ranting about freaking NFL this long. Do you know what, dude? Doing a podcast with my son in the room here, so if you hear noise, I do apologize. You know, I mean, there are players that are staying around. I mean, I can't believe Chris Godwin has had the career that he's had. I mean, Chris Godwin just had a game yesterday that was amazing. I mean, again, he's got Baker, and Baker's got Godwin, and Godwin's been pretty damn good. I gave up on Godwin probably 4 seasons ago, and some haven't. I've just never been a Godwin guy, but Godwin's still doing his thing. A.J. Brown's still doing his thing. Zay Flowers. My God, I wish I would have focused on Zay Flowers a lot more. I can't believe it. Zay Flowers, I had him last year as a rookie, and he did really well. Zay Flowers is killing it. That guy's a league winner right now. I tell you what, good for Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet had, I think, 2 touchdowns yesterday. That guy, I wish I would have picked him up. They dropped him on my waivers, and I ignored him because I had a better tight end at the time. Cole Kmet's going to be the guy. And I tell you what, with Drake May starting for the New England Patriots, that Demario Douglas looks like he might be the guy. Again, these receivers don't have a quarterback, you know, and then finally you get a quarterback that can throw you some darts, and then boom. And then I've never even heard of Sean Tucker, the running back for Tampa. I don't know what happened to the running back room in Tampa. I didn't watch that game, but that guy was the best running back last week in fantasy was Sean Tucker is what I read. I don't know. I got to get out of here soon, guys. I don't want to, you know what? I wanted to talk this stuff. I didn't really want to talk too much politics because I feel like all my podcast of so many years was just so politicky. I did see that Trump is going on Joe Rogan's podcast. That is going to blow up the internet. It's funny how Rogan, how he does. Look, I'm not going to say Rogan is bought and paid for. I'm not saying that because I mean, yes and no. I understand why Rogan has not had Donald Trump on the podcast yet. You know, he doesn't want the problems. Joe Rogan doesn't want the problems. It comes with problems, and you get crying liberals, and it might affect his money, and he just wants to kind of stay neutral, which I totally understand that. I understand that. But Joe Rogan, you have people on there that I've heard you bring people on there recently where I go, why is this guy on here? This is the most boringest thing ever. You're having Terrence Howard on there that doing hood science. You don't have one of the most polarizing figures in history ever, but you don't have him on there because you don't want the problems. That makes you seem like you're a bit paid for, and they're bullying you. So I guess Rogan is what the rumor is that he's going to have Trump on. He should have had him on 2-3 times already. Honestly, 2-3 times. With other politicians, if you want to do that. I don't know. I get why he stays away, but he should at least been on there once. And now it sounds like he's going to be on there. It's going to be real interesting to see the fallout of that. He's going to get a lot of hatred. It sucks. That just because a guy that goes, hey, I'll have him on there, I'll chop it up with you. Most people would have on Donald Trump. Flagrant had on Donald Trump. All right. The Logan Paul had on Donald Trump. The Nelk guys have had on Donald Trump. And I'm missing a couple podcasts that had on Donald Trump. I think Theo had on Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure he had on there. So for Rogan, the biggest podcast in the world, to not have Donald Trump, and he's still exempt of catching a bunch of heat, from people that don't like him anyways. And so you might as well have him on there. Those guys aren't going to be your fan base and like you anyways, bud. You might as well have him on there. And then also you could also grill him. I'm not saying you have to go on there and you don't really give the full court press on the guy. Have him on there. It's funny, dude, is that clip of Obama talking to the black people, the black guys, and saying, hey, we're noticing there's not a lot of black guys getting behind Kamala Harris, and I'm disappointed in it. Talking to him like he's their daddy, and then it's so much backlash on that. And dude, I just seen a clip today of Kamara Usman or whatever his name is. Saying, well, if Kamala got to choose a white husband, why don't we have, as black men, have the option to choose a white president? Dude, blew up the internet with that, dude. Blew it up, man. But 22 days to the election. We'll see what's going on. Honestly, if you were going to have me guess, I think Trump is shoo-in to win. I think he owns this country right now where people are voting for him. But these people in the establishment and truly the real deep state, whether people want to grin at that or not, I think this thing is so fixed, and I don't think our vote really even matters. And I think it's all charades and it's all theater, and they're not going to let him to win. And Kamala Harris is probably going to be our next president. They're going to keep it moving with just dumb puppet politicians. So all the bankers and all the the neocons and the people that run this world can continue to do what they do and complete their plan, which they're not going to have anybody stop their plan. And that's what I really think. But honestly, if there was a fair election and you just did vote for vote and stuff like that, I think Trump would win in a giant landslide, and it'd be embarrassing. I really, that's what I think. And not saying, look, man, for years I've said, just give me better people and I'll vote for them. Give me the better people and I'll vote for them. Okay. But if you give me these people and that's my options, that's who I'm going to vote for. Don't shame me for who I want to vote for if these are the options, okay? And I get it that I could vote for your option. Your options are terrible, okay? Your options are terrible. I knew that dude. My grandmother died. She had dementia when she died. Okay, I knew Joe Biden had dementia. You know, you could read a room. Anybody could read a room. That guy's got something going on. That's a problem. Years ago, and as it's going on. Okay, this Kamala Harris, she's terrible. All right, she's a fake. She's a phony. I don't care if she's done this. That position is too big for her, and that has nothing to do with her being a female. That has nothing to do with her being a woman. Okay, that room swallows her up when she's up on stage. There, you have to kind of be, dude. You have to be a pro. You have to be a business guy. You have to be like, you know, big dick swinging type of dude. And again, women have it too when they have that. She don't got it. Another thing is, when you got it, you got it. When you don't, you don't. All right? Whether you like these words or not and you're new to the podcast, look, when you got it, you got it. You do the eye test. When it works, it works. You know, Barack Obama, when he first popped up, you do the eye test, you go, that dude's got it. It's just a fact. Okay? Bill Clinton popped his head up, you go, that dude's got it. That's just a fact. Hell, Bernie had it. That's a fact. Okay? And I'm naming all liberals right here and all Democrats. Okay? It's when you got it, you got it, and when you don't, you don't. This lady don't. Okay, guys, Busted Balls podcast on most platforms. Eric Pennell Comedy. Please, if you like the clips, you like the podcast, please share it. If not, I get it. If you don't like the podcast, don't come back. I don't need you anyways, okay? You little whiner. What kind of girl are you that you don't like this podcast? And hope everybody's, hope you're putting titty nipples in your mouth. Hope you're grabbing asses out there. And I hope your old lady's staying off your case. And I hope you're getting your money. And let's get it, guys. Thanks for listening. Bustin' Balls Podcast.